It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. This show is brought to you by emailrevealer.com. Our newest sponsor, Miguel Lasala, who's the author of The Rodeo of Doom, and our second newest sponsor, MichiganMushrooms.net. Today we have, if you've never heard the show before, please go to OppermanReport.com and check out our member section, where we have a lot of exclusive shows and exclusive content that you don't hear live Friday night. Today we have a very special show. You may recall the YouTube video that came out a few months back about this case in Hampstead, England, about these two little kids. They were recalling their abuse at the hands of a satanic cult. And we're describing it as the Hampstead cover-up. So we have with us today the mother, Ella Draper, of these two children, and her boyfriend, Abraham Christie, who's also been raising these kids for about the last year or so. So are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Ed.
Hi.
Thank you for having us on your show.
Thanks for the opportunity, Ed.
Thank you very much. So why don't you guys take a few minutes each, okay, and just describe who you are. Like, who is Ella Draper? Tell us about yourself, and then we'll get into the specifics of the case.
Okay. Well, in fact, I've changed my name back to my maiden name, and I'm Gariva now, Ella Gariva, so Draper in brackets. And I've been a full-time majority of the last 20 years. I have 3 children, and Alisa and Gabriel are the youngest one. I'm the yoga teacher and also beauty nutritionist.
Yoga teacher, huh?
Yes, yoga teacher and beauty nutritionist.
Okay, yeah, me and my daughter, we did Bikram yoga for about a year and a half. I did it for 90 days straight.
Oh, wonderful. How was it?
I don't do it now. It was a little too much for me, so I stopped doing it. But I definitely want to get back into it. My daughter still does it. She's 15 years old.
Oh, right. This is the one I'm teaching as well.
Well, Bikram.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I loved it. I really did. I got addicted to it, and I did it 90 days straight
Nice.
in the summer about 2 years ago. Now, Abraham Christie, why don't you tell us your story? Who's Abraham Christie?
I'm Christie. Okay. I'm a researcher. I'm 58 years of age, and I was born and educated in London. I was a rebellious youth and spent a lot of my youth in what they would call correctional facilities, if you will. I'm nonconformist, and I met Ella and the children at a raw food event, and I'd only known the children for 3 or 4 months before they disclosed what had been happening to them at school and in the church. So I don't know.
Okay.
I've only, as I say, I had only recently known the children, but this is over a year and 3 months now, a year and 4 months almost now.
Since they
were kidnapped, and and I knew the children 4 or 5 months before that, so it's almost 2 years now.
Okay, let's start with this. This case came to the public's attention because of a YouTube video. And I believe it was called The Hampstead Children or something like that. And it was the kids were being interviewed like in a parking lot or out in the street. Now,
it was at the airport. It was just
to England
at the entrance to the airport. And I think the video you're talking about was called Papa kills babies.
Right. Okay, that was the first one. Now, what instigated the videotaping that day? What made you decide to take a videotape that day?
Okay, I have a in-law who is a special constable. Whilst the children were disclosing, and to a solicitor for advice, and one of the things to me was that he said you'll need some evidence. Have you got any evidence? And the only real evidence we had at the time were the children's testimonies. And I'm not sure if that was what instigated or initiated us filming the children.
Yeah, but we also, when children were disclosed and wrote a lot of things, and as well children drew pictures, for example, of the tattoos of their and we realized also that during these 3 intense weeks, it was really hard time. It was really hard time for all of us. So we really didn't think about filming then, but while we're getting ready, we realized that we better film them, and we were doing it on the way to in the airport. Some have been on the airplane, and back in England as well.
We were. I believe we were challenged with PTSD. I truly believe that we were suffering, all of us, from post-traumatic stress disorder after the initial disclosures. I know that Ella and I were.
And
yeah, the children, because they've been experiencing this, from a very young age, they just appear to be able to deal with it better.
Right. So prior to videotaping that day, how much prior to that did you first start noticing signs of abuse in the children, or did they come to you and start telling you about the abuse?
Well, they told us we will. Maybe Abraham will explain it better how it all got discovered.
Right.
It took about maybe 3 weeks. Happened about 3 weeks beforehand. However, there were many signs even before that. During years before, there were all kind of signs which I was not really equipped to interpret. And then when Abraham became part of our family, he started to with a fresh look and with his experience, he noticed many things right away, and things started to get worse as well. And would you like to say to explain how it all happened?
Well, even before I became part of the family, we'd travelled together to Glastonbury and to other places in the UK. And I wasn't the only one who had noticed the children's aggression towards each other.
Because for me it was normal.
It was normal for Well, for me that degree of aggression was unusual. And there were just too many signs. I noticed them when they were playing on the trampoline. I noticed them touching the family pet dog intimately. I also noticed Gabriel's arrested development. We'd go running in the park, and I noticed his arrested development for his age. Also, Elisa's cold cynicism.
Yeah, this also worried me a lot, or really deeply concerned me, because it was something that was progressing quite rapidly. Her cynicism, and also I've been noticing that Gabriel started to develop like a glaze over his eyes, as if he was switching off the reality. And 2 years before that, I also caught them possibly touching. I haven't seen them touching, but they've been filming each other on my mobile, on the cell phone, on the cell camera. And so that's already alerted me. But then the quite a distorted and
Ella would also
abusive behavior that was going on for a very long time.
You also spoke to me about bringing them home from school, and that they'd throw tantrums. And
yeah, they would be really stressed after school, to the point that I had to take them somewhere in the nature for them to run around and get their steam out. But every time I was going to pick them up from school, I would have to prepare myself mentally, emotionally, and it would be already stressful for me to go. And they would be fighting really badly between themselves and abusive towards me.
What were their ages at that time?
They were when they disclosed. They were Alisa was 9 and Gabriel was 8, right?
When they disclosed, yes.
But we're talking about especially last 2 years before that. So from maybe Gabriel was 6 and Alisa was 7. This symptoms, I would say, became much worse.
But now you didn't.
And the thing is, I couldn't work it out because there was, to my knowledge, there was no other influence of adults, like direct closest influence apart from me. But children disclosed that their father was visiting school every day and subjecting them to those practices and to those experiences. Then things became much more clear what happened there.
There were lots of signs, Ed. There were other children in the school. There was one boy in particular, Spike, whose behaviour was, it was notable. He was always aggressive and always attacking other, and he was regularly causing trouble with other children,
as well as James.
Yes,
other children. You can see there was they were all kind of hanging together. The parents were hanging together, and those children were. There was some concern about it, about them, and the girls as well who came to our house, Alice's friends. Something wasn't right. Something wasn't right. This particular friend of Alisa called Millie. She was always looks into your eyes like as if she was pleading or asking for something, and I couldn't understand what was going on. And of course they were keeping quiet, and only later Alisa told me that they both were thinking to tell me when Millie found out that I wasn't part of this group, part of this cult. They were thinking to tell them. They got scared. They were terrorized. They were threatened with death, perhaps also with the death of their loved ones, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of muddying of the waters, if you will, or obfuscation in this case. You see, there was a lot of talk of Satanism and other forms of extreme abuse, but is really just to cover up the main issue. And one of the things we've learned is that certain ethnic groups, if you will, are more resistant to this type of programming, if you will, this type of cult behaviour, this type of ritual abuse. And Millie, this young girl Millie, she's from a part of the world that is noted for people who are resistant. She's from South America, and it's been noted by other commentators who've been studying these phenomena that certain racial types are more resistant to the conditioning.
Well, yeah. Let me ask you this, Abe. Now, you guys are saying that, Abe, you sort of started noticing these signs before Ella did?
Well, no. I was noticing the signs. It just I really couldn't. I didn't interpret them correctly because, to my mind, it's like the idea of any kind of abuse was not even entering my mind. I came from Russia and grew up in the environment where pedophilia was at the time virtually non-existent, and even now this kind of abuse is not even common. It's not common subject of conversation as it is in the UK, for example.
Whereas in the UK, paedophilia or buggery is common knowledge. You know, people are aware of the culture of yes.
Because like Jimmy Savile and stuff, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, definitely.
So it's like more, yeah. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Okay,
So for me,
I was just going to remind you more about what you've been noticing and how we actually you're the one. It was Abraham who discovered what was happening.
well, I began to suspect, of course,
okay,
with my years on the planet, as it were, my experience, and of course, having raised 10 children myself, I began to suspect that something was amiss. But we couldn't really. It was difficult to. How could I? You see, the family home. I was a witness. You know, I'd experienced the family environment, and it didn't correspond. The children's behaviour, it didn't correspond with the family environment that I was experiencing. The only other place that I knew they were going was to school. And of course, you automatically you wouldn't expect anything like this to be going on at school. So it was difficult. It was difficult to work out exactly what was going on, Ed. But then the children had a Skype conversation from their father.
okay,
And I heard his voice, and I sensed something in his voice. I felt a total lack of empathy, something completely false in his voice, and I have time in jail with the likes of Dennis Nielsen. If you have a look up, he's a serial killer, Dennis Nielsen, and other sociopaths and psychopaths. But there was something in this character's voice that alerted me, and I immediately went to speak to Ella about it. That was almost like confirmation that something was terribly wrong with regarding the children, and it wasn't, as I say, until we were on holiday in Morocco that I spotted the children touching each other intimately, and I questioned them. I asked them, I know, someone's taught someone to do this. Who is it? Who's taught you? And they just opened up. They, as Elisa says, we broke the deal with my dad not to tell anybody. And they told, I feel that their diet, because as I say, I'm a nutritionist, and Kathy O'Brien and Roseanne Barr and others have testified to the fact that hemp, cannabis, deletes and prevents mind control programming. Now,
Although it's nothing to do with the smoke.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we are raw foodists, and I introduced the family to the benefits of hemp seed nutrition, and we were giving the children hemp seed milks and hemp seed juices.
Although we were already raw vegans for many years before that, the whole family, children were vegan and vegetarian for their whole life.
And
my daughter's vegan now too.
Pardon?
I said my daughter is vegan now too.
She's vegan, yeah?
Which sort of makes me a vegan, because I have to.
Well done.
Brilliant. Okay.
It's a progress.
Okay, yeah. Well, check out raw veganism when you get a chance.
Not by choice. I'd rather go back to raw hamburgerism if I could. Some
Anyway,
spiritism. Okay, go ahead.
we were all thriving all thriving on this diet. We were in the sunshine,
Right.
and we were having fun. We were having fun in the sun until, you know, I spotted the children, and then they began to disclose, and each day were more revelations. But
The nightmare began, although it was already going
Right.
since they were little.
I was shocked, but we were shocked, but not surprised.
Okay,
Because
let's take a couple of steps
It began
back.
to make sense.
Let's take a couple of steps backwards. Because, Abe, I can relate to what you're saying, okay? I've dated a lot of women with kids, and sometimes, you know, you get to know the kids, and you start seeing something's wrong, you know, and you can kind of sense it. But what was it about these kids? They knew you for a short time. Why did they confide in you?
Why did they confide in me?
Yeah.
They were both, particularly Elisa, highly intuitive, highly sensitive, and highly intelligent. Super intelligent children. They're both blonde-haired, blue-eyed, highly articulate, and they're bilingual. They're bilingual in Russian and English, and they were picking up Spanish and Arabic as well. So they're highly intelligent children. Why did they confide in me? Well, it appears from what they told us that practically everyone in their social circle, everyone they knew except their mother or they were meeting, apart from their mother, was involved in this behaviour, in this abuse. Yeah.
Okay.
And so for them to
Perhaps they were not very confident to confide in me to me, knowing that I'm the only adult out there who doesn't do it. So they were probably not brave enough or confident enough, I would imagine.
And so when they realised that, you know, here was another person who wasn't involved in the cult, and someone who didn't fear. I didn't fear this information, and they felt. I believe that they felt safe enough to share the information with me, and they felt that perhaps I could protect them from further abuse.
Okay. Now, you say that the kids reported to you that their father was visiting the school almost every day. Is there any record at the school, any videos, any sign-in sheets, anything like that?
Right, okay. Now we'll rewind for you now, Ed. Ed, we have learnt, and it's pretty synchronistic that you've invited us on your show at this juncture.
Okay.
Because we've come to the realization, and we've received information that confirms, and it clears up all of the anomalies, and it clears up everything now. It seems that this ritual abuse is merely one aspect of trauma-based mind control. It seems that the British educational system has been taken over. It seems to me that it's part of the whole social engineering. Tavistock is involved. The children visited Tavistock, the Tavistock Institute.
They mentioned at least another 10 schools in the same borough, Camden, that adhering to these practices.
And we believe that the educational system has been infiltrated. Now they don't involve all of the pupils in the school in these programs, in these mind control programs. They choose specific families, possibly members of families who are also already members of the Freemason fraternity.
Okay, but no, I'm with you. Yeah, but my question was there any record of the father visiting the school that ever signed?
Oh, no,
right.
No, of course, there's no record because it's a cover-up.
And the thing is, there was no investigation carried out at all. There was no CCTV cameras watched. There was literally no investigation at all. 2 policemen visited the church. After tipping the school already, after 4 days, when we reported this to the police, they had a meeting. There was a strategy meeting between social workers, policemen, And a representative from the school, a headmistress from the school, was invited.
Whom the children had named as one of the ringleaders of the abuse.
One of the main abusers.
And one of the main abusers. The children also described that this particular person, the head teacher, her name is Kate Forsdyke, they described her as having a large, a port wine stain covering her pudenda, covering her thighs and her pudenda. They also describe tattoos. The children describe them as devil tattoos. We believe that these tattoos are tattoos of Baphomet, a goat-headed devil. And the children describe the teachers as having tattoos and pierce rings.
And other distinguishing marks, as moles, as birthmarks. However, none of those people have been interviewed, arrested.
There was no mention.
No mobile phones, no computers were seized.
There was no mention of the tattoos in the Christie report. The evidence, the recorded video evidence of the children's testimony regarding the tattoos was seized from my brother-in-law, the policeman Jean Clement, was seized from him by a D.C. Rogers, a Detective Constable Rogers, and stored an hour away from Barnet Police Station, an hour's drive away in Chingford, in a property storeroom, and no one viewed this evidence.
The videos, the videos you talked about, those videos were hidden away on the first day of the investigation. So there was no investigation as such. And but then this more serious evidence. These marks and tattoos, it'd been mentioned by the children during the home video. Then to Ham's brother-in-law, police sergeant, who took who made extensive audio recording, and this recording was also put away in this storage. Then the same story been repeated to the policemen in the official interviews and to the doctors as well as their foster carer. So, but then. This particular evidence has never been mentioned in the Christie report. That the report of the investigation. It was never mentioned in the family proceedings. And what they've done, they quickly closed the case. They bullied children into the retraction, and we believe they drugged them as well. And quickly referred it to the family court, to the secret family court, where no press, no public is allowed. And they were attempting to cover it up there.
Okay, one second, because we have a whole another hour and a half. I want to get into all the family court stuff as we move on.
All right.
But one question now is about the port wine stains and the tattoos. Now, if these people are being accused of having these identifiable marks on their naked portion of their body, have they ever come forward and said, okay, listen, someone examined me, an impartial person examined me, or here's photographs of myself, anything like that?
Not one of them. Not one of them.
Not one of them, no.
Okay. Now, what about, you said that you caught the children taking videotapes of each other using your phone. Do you still have those videos?
Yeah, it's been about, it happened a long time ago, 4 years back from now. But the time of children disclosing, maybe 2 years to over 2 years, and it was only short 50 seconds video, which has nothing been going on. It's just Alisa took her panties off and Gabriel was filming her. So I thought. I explained it to myself as perhaps part of them being curious about sexuality, and I explained to my best that it was inappropriate to do that, and my mom as well witnessed that. But I changed the phone since that. I didn't really give any importance to this incident or to evidence, of course, back then, because just so many things been going on, and it was the whole, especially last couple of years was really, really stressful for me. And because, as I said, the children's behavior was deteriorating quite dramatically, and I just couldn't keep up. I guess if it was one child, probably it would be a bit easier, but with two of them growing and becoming bigger, and but there was not only one incident.
What happens? What happened is that their biological father, Ricky Dearman, he relinquished all contact with the children at a court hearing in November 2011.
How old were the kids at that time?
2011.
Yeah.
Well, 3 years before that. So Alisa was 6.
5 and 6. They were 5 and 6 years of age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he relinquished all contact with them
Officially in the courtroom.
at a high court hearing.
So there is evidence of that, even recorded by the judge, who
Because he had a pre-planned trip to LA in November 2011. And this is where we believe he genned up on these mind control techniques. And then after his spell in LA, he visited India.
perhaps we suspect Goa,
And
where
then-
a lot of abuse going on as well.
Yes, and where his sister is married to an Indian character out there who runs
And
a hotel out there.
And the thing is, children allege that all of his family, all Damon's family, is involved in this abuse as well.
Generational.
And
The
it's been,
grandmother, the mother,
It's been
and him.
generational abuse too.
Let me ask you a question. What is the reason he gave for his trip to LA and this trip to Indonesia?
He doesn't.
Well, he didn't give any reason in the courtroom. He simply said that.
He didn't tell that he was going. He didn't tell.
No. He never said. He never said he was going. But we know that he's gone. He's gone straight shortly after that.
Okay.
But the thing is, before he was fighting hard for the contacts with the children, and I was fighting hard not to give him children. And the more I realized that his influence is detrimental on children, the more I was cutting the contacts between him and the children. The legal proceedings were going on and off for about 4 years. And that even you see that it's quite a sort of there is quite a background to the story. You know, there is domestic violence. There is
Okay, why don't we do this?
assault on my life.
Why don't we do this?
So
We'll take a commercial break now, and we'll come back. We'll get into the reasons for the breakup, the reasons for the divorce, and any kind of litigation and stuff like that. But one question I want to ask right before we go is, what does the father do for a living now? What is his occupation?
Well, he doesn't have occupation.
Officially, he has no occupation.
As far as we know, that he's engaging in child pornography, snuff movies,
Money laundering.
maybe organ trafficking, child trafficking.
What does he write down on his tax returns? Do we know that?
Well, now been investigated it, and I know that he's been claiming the state money, living on benefits for a very long time, at least maybe for 10 years or so.
Benefits for what reason?
Benefit, being jobless, or claiming that he's has some disability, which I know is fake. He's claiming that he's got some back pain. Or
Back pain, okay.
something like that.
All right, so we'll get right back to this. We'll come back. We'll pick up with the breakup, the divorce, and all that kind of stuff. We're here with Abraham Christie and Ella Gariv. You pronounce it?
Gariva, yes.
Gariva. You sprung that one on me. Okay. I found the name Ella Draper online. Okay, well, thank you very much. We'll be right back with more of this case here about this Hampstead cover-up. With these two children alleging this abuse, and it's been a disastrous situation. There's no way, no matter how you look at this, that these children are being given a square deal in all this. So we'll get right back to this after these messages. a word from our sponsors. Pacific West Bamboo, your premier source for sustainable building material. They provide construction-grade and craft-grade bamboo material for all your indoor, outdoor, and gardening needs. Contact them for event planning and display building as well. 503-839-8126. Or you can go to their new website, pacificwestbamboo.com. Or you can contact them on Facebook at Pacific West Bamboo. That's 503-839-8126. Amanda from Pacific West Bamboo was our first sponsor. She's been so good to us, so please support her in return. I want to make everybody aware of our new members section at www.oppermanreport.com. You can go there and sign up for a monthly, quarterly, or yearly subscription. You can even purchase episodes one by one. You get full access to brand new original content, new guests, new uncensored interviews, my own investigations and reports, and we're going to be adding sections with documents, images, police reports, either provided by myself or by my guests, or for my own investigations, my own reports. So you can go to oppermanreport.com, you can sign up there tonight, and start listening tonight. Strawman. I want to mention Strawman. Strawman is a band out of Toronto, Canada. They're good friends of the Opperman Report. They're a trio of guys who share the same mindset most of us here do, and they put that energy into their words and music. So check them out at strawmanmusic.com and drop them a line to let them know that they're supporting one another. We'll be doing a music show. You can get an autographed copy of my book, How to Succeed as a Private Investigator, by visiting my PI website, emailrevealer.com. We also offer a computer and cell phone forensics. We can recover deleted text messages to uncover infidelity. We offer asset searches, locates, email tracing, background reports, and we can even trace your spouse's email address back to internet dating websites to catch them cheating online. You can reach us at 800-572-9762, or you can email me at emailrevealer@aol.com. New World Mexican Women. Everyone loves the New World Mexican Women. And their line of fine, handcrafted, authentic Mexican jewelry of stone mosaic and abalone stone inlay. In their first book, titled New World Mexican Women, available on reviews.com, they teach you how to make this jewelry, and they have a collection of love letters to their men from their hometown that have immigrated to the United States to find work. They have also published a new book entitled Azucena to the Rodeo. It's about a young girl that falls in love with a rodeo bull rider, and she runs away with him without telling her parents. You can find the New World Mexican Women by Googling New World Mexican Women, and you can ask them about their deals on wholesaling their fine jewelry and all of the other projects that they have going on. If you'd like to have your business or website advertised here and promoted all over the world on dozens of stations every day, give us a call at 800-572-9762 or email oppermanreport@gmail.com. And now back to our show. Nope, not so soon. First, we're going to talk about MichiganMushrooms.net. They offer the highest quality chaga chunks available anywhere, picked fresh from healthy live trees in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, sun-dried and quickly shipped to you. They're very proud of their long-standing reputation as trusted farmers and collectors of wild, gourmet, and medicinal mushrooms. Customer service and offering high-quality products is very important to them, and they have a strict grading system that begins in the woods, and they would rather pass up a chunk that looks bad instead of passing it off to you, the customer. Additionally, they are recognized by the state of Michigan as mushroom experts. They are certified by the Department of Agriculture to sell 20 different species of mushrooms, and proof of this certification is available upon request. That is MichiganMushrooms.net, or on Facebook, Michigan Mushrooms LLC. Got a brand new sponsor, The Rodeo of Doom by Miguel Lasala. Year is 2384, and Henry Fields is a down-on-his-luck adjunct professor in the architecture department at Andreas Hanging University in Los Angeles. But he has one thing going for him that others don't. There's enough of the coveted EP14 to live to be 200 if he wants to. Not that hard. When he saves a woman for certain death with a few drops of the EP14, a corrupt government agency tries to blackmail him into selling off his supply. Just when it seems like it might be a good idea, all hell breaks loose. The Rodeo of Doom was written by Miguel La Sala and edited by Margaret A. Harrell, the author of Keep This Quiet, memoir series. Now, she was also the copy editor, Hunter S. Thompson's breakthrough book, Hell's Angels. According to Harrell, the Rodeo of Doom will grip you and pull you into the wild ride of a different reality. This is a consciously fast-paced journey into the future. Author Miguel La Sala reveals his craft by intricately weaving in fine details for his reader and keeps you anxiously anticipating what will happen next. Do not wait to read this book. There will surely be more to come from this author. The Rodeo of Doom is available on Amazon.com, and there's a link to the Rodeo of Doom in the Opperman Report bookstore. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. We're doing a case about the Hampstead cover-up, the two children in that video that's become so famous. We're here today with the mother, Ella Draper, and her boyfriend, who was also helping to raise the kid for the past year, Abraham Christie. Are you guys there? Ella?
Yes.
Okay, so now when we left off, I was going to ask you, let's start off on a new... First of all, before we get to that, you mentioned that the kids were taken to the Tavistock Institute. Now, how do you know that?
Well, it was this following this incident where Damon attempted to kill me. My eldest son, James, it affected him a lot, and his father... suggested to take him to the Tavistock Institute, which is, as we know, is a charitable organization, and with some children's psychologists working for them. This is kind of their front. This is what they're saying they're doing, and so I started to take James for his sessions, and it was in different combinations. And then children were also affected because they viewed this incident, and Alisa's got hurt as well during this. So the psychologist suggested to take them also for the sessions. And I was looking for the solutions as well, and even before children started to disclose this hard 2 years, I was educating myself in child psychology. I was attending all kind of courses, and child psychologists privately. So I knew I had a problem. And I was attempting to resolve it as much as I could.
The dichotomy, the quandary is this, Ed.
Of course, I never known about Tavistock back then.
Right. Yeah, the Tavistock Institute has set themselves up as the authority on ritual abuse and multi-personality disorder and dissociative identity disorder. And so, in other words, the primary programming site for these trauma-based mind controls, they are pretending to be the leading institution, attempting to solve the problem, if you get my drift.
I do. And unless you're familiar with all the allegations and rumors about Tavistock, no one would think, that there would be any reason to be afraid of them. Now, Ella, what was the core... When you were married to your husband, was there any signs?
No, we were never married, and I knew Damon for a very short time until the relationship broke up, Gabriel wasn't even 1 year old when I told Damon that the relationship was not working. However,
well, let me ask you this: during the period of time you were dating and you were getting along and everything was happy, was there any indications that he was involved in any kind of activities or parties or bizarre sex?
No, not at all. Not at all. He appeared to be caring. He's got along with my eldest son. Nothing at all. It just after when the children were born, then I started to notice some inclinations towards abnormal sexual activity, and some comments he was making were a bit weird for me to hear, and he was forcing me, emotionally forcing me to watch pornography with him, things like that. So progressively, many things were really concerning to me, and I realized that this guy is something wrong with him, and also his interaction with the children was some aspects of interactions with the children were quite worrying, I would say. Like, for example, he would come to see children in the evening just before they were going to bed, and would start to play the stickle game with them, which I was never happy about, because then children already kind of were calm, ready to go to bed, and then he would start this strong activity going on, and he would tickle them and tickle until you can see they're not comfortable. He's taking them over the edge, and he was still pushing, and unless I wanted to interfere, and this would always end up in arguments. And there are many other things as well. The psychological manipulation and intimidation. Like he would be breaking up in my house through the garden late at night and break into my house, yes, and sending me messages and emails of inappropriate content, sexual contact, and I reported him. There were like 5 police calls because of the domestic violence and other reports of sexual harassment, but this already after we were not seeing each other, and then there was then it was violence against my son, and so until I asked court for the protection, and the court issued the injunction order against him, which was in place for almost for over half a year.
Did he have any parenting experience with other children besides the 2 you have together?
Sorry?
Did he have kids of his own outside of the kids he has with you?
No.
So he had no other parenting experience?
No, these are the only children.
Now, you mentioned you have an older son. How old is he?
Well, he's big boy now. He's 18.
18.
But at the time of these events, he was 9, 10.
Okay. Now, your older son now, where does he stand in all this? Has he seen any signs of abuse with these with the 2 children in question?
Well, he's now in the university, and of course, this information was a shock to him as to my family. But I don't think. Well, the thing is, he started to live with his dad maybe 5 years prior to August 2014. So he wasn't really spending that much time around the children, although he's very close to both of his brother and sister.
Gotcha. Okay, so now.
Yeah, because he said to me. James, Ella's oldest son, had noticed the children's unruly behaviour, if you will, or dysfunctional behaviour. when he would visit at the weekend, so he was aware.
Now, you described earlier that when you would go running in the park with the oldest boy, I guess the oldest boy out of the two.
No, he's the youngest. No, he's only 8. Gabriel was only 8. He was the youngest. Elisa was 9 and Gabriel was 8 at the time.
But you described when you were running in the park with Gabriel that he would exhibit age-inappropriate behavior. Is that what you meant?
Not age inappropriate, arrested development. He wasn't moving fluidly, physically. He wasn't moving. How can I say, as freely as he should have been for someone of his age.
Not very good coordination.
Yes.
Okay.
But also there was arrested mental development as well.
There were a number of factors, as Ella just mentioned.
Psychological, emotional.
Now, when you were taking the children to the Tavistock Institute, were any of those reports or any of the doctors or any of the therapists from the Tavistock Institute, were they ever brought into any of the legal proceedings that are currently going on?
No. There was an attempt where Diamond was invited to one of those sessions or have a conversation with the practitioner, but he created quite a scene there, and he left without banging the door, and he left. But the thing is, the very first time I went there because of I took children because of James, of the eldest son, but then the couple of years before August 2014, there were, as I said, sort of things progressively were getting worse, and the school then. Was pointing to Tavistock.
Now, okay, so now then,
because the thing is, Tavistock is actually in the maybe a mile away from the school. You see, it's in the same area.
Amazing. Okay, so now you guys you make this video in the airport parking lot, and now everything breaks loose. Right now, there's
no, not at all.
Explain, that was a
Sorry.
Ed, that video that went as you may say viral on the internet. That video was one of a number of videos, of very short video clips that we made.
About 17 of them.
Yes, 2 or 3 minute video clips that we made of the children disclosing, because they'd given us so much information, and we had so much information on paper that the logical step was to make some take some video footage of.
So, and you had gone to your brother-in-law who was a cop.
That's correct. Yes, a special constable in London. Yeah.
So then what happens next? Now was a police investigation started?
Yes, the police investigation started the very next day.
However, we were doubtful of the police. We had some reticence regarding the police, because the children had testified that members of the Metropolitan Police were involved in the abuse and were aware of what was going on. You see, the children have named teachers, police officers, social workers, members of CAFCAS, the Child and Family.
CAFCAS is like a social
advisory.
Yeah, like social services within the court.
Right.
So,
now, let me ask a question first. Now, how would the kids know about CAFCAS? How would they know that phrase? Had they any exposure to that before?
Well, because during these family proceedings, CAFCAS gets involved. Whenever in any legal proceedings, CAFCAS is automatically involved. Okay. So children were well aware what it was, and in fact, you see, Damon started he made an application for his contact visit, for his visiting rights again in 2013. Prior to that, there was anonymous call made to RCPCC. It's like a child protection agency, which with a false allegation that I'd been abusive to the children, I didn't feed them, and all kind of. Really, like false accusations saying that the children are so hungry that they're going through the rubbish bins. And the thing is, the school also kind of like took this information. How to say? They also stated. Yeah. There were. And so,
You see, he was attempting to. He wanted custody of the children in order to have sole control. This is what is to have been going on. But in the interim period, he was quite happy for Ella to care for the children and for him to have free and easy access to them. But as Ella became aware of his association with the children, mental to the children, and began to curtail his contacts with them, so he it seems embarked upon a campaign to
discredit me and to get the custody of the children. When I had legally I had the custody of the children already. So when they came with the official story saying that we coached the children to say all this story, and solely for the purpose of getting the custody, that was so. That judiciary as well as mass media were advertising.
I think it helps to understand. I think it helps. It will help your audience, Ed, to they realise that it appears that this is state sponsored. These are state sponsored programs. And that we've stumbled across a state-sponsored trauma-based mind control program, and that the ritual abuse is an integral part of it, and that they close ranks, and that they're covering this up for all their worth. They're covering this up for all their worth, because this is the soft belly of their culture. This is the Tavistock social engineering at its ultimate, to create an army of mind-controlled slaves to do their bidding.
Now, at the
in
time,
the New World Order.
At the time when the school was saying, well, the kids aren't eating, over there in England, do you have the option to move your kids to a different school?
Yes, we were going to move children to different school, and that's when the school started to become nervous and hostile, as well as Damon. He started to really push for the contacts, and actually the contact started to happen. The court ordered the contact just before he had 3 contacts with the children, official, where before he had none. But we know, of course, he was coming to school. So anyway, this whole year, there were legal proceedings going on, where he applied for the residence, well, for the custody and for the contacts, as well as claiming that I'm trying to take it out of England permanently. So that was going on, and
what's the question?
Well, the question is,
where we're going
is that. If you were raising the kids uneventfully for 8 years, 9 years, and he only had marginal visits, and now he goes to court and he wants to get custody as a male parent, he's single, right? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And has no experience raising these kids by himself, and his only allegation that I've heard so far is that the kids were not being properly fed. That was his only allegation against you.
No. This incident, it was an anonymous call.
Okay.
Someone made an anonymous call to RCPCC, the Child Protection Agency.
RCPCA. NSCC.
NSPCC, sorry, NSPCC is another one organization I'm mixing up with. It's a dogs protection, sorry.
I know, over here.
That's right.
Too,
yeah. Anyway, someone made this anonymous call, and then automatically the social services got involved.
Right.
And they started to their investigation. They came to my house. And then the thing is, the children later on in August told us that these social workers who were involved in this sort of investigation were abusers, as well as Kafka's workers, because I had to take children, because of the court proceedings, I had to take them to the Kafkas for an interview. And what happened, they left me in part of the building, locked me there in this part of the building, and took children away. And children saying that they were sadistically abused by about 10, 12 people doing so-called interview by the Kafka's workers. This is they know very well what Kafkas is, and they explained where it took, how, described all the details.
But that day when this happened, you were locked up and they locked you in a room and they took the kids away and the kids came back. Did you notice any signs that day that the kids had been abused, or physical signs, or blood, or any kind of?
No, there was no. Yeah, I mean, there was never blood on their pants. Gabriel was making his. I thought he wasn't wiping his bottom well,
Gotcha.
But now we know that it was that the muscle, the anal, what is called anal dilation, where the bottom, loses the anus, loses the muscles losing its strength, the flexibility,
Sure.
becoming loose, and that's what's causing for him to swallow his pants, and
Okay, now let's take another commercial break, and then when we get back, we'll get into the whole stuff about these legal proceedings, because right now you've lost custody of these kids, right?
That's right, yes.
And okay, so we'll get into that whole phase of the thing. And we'll be right back after this. We're here with Ella Gariva and Abraham Christie. This is the case of these two little kids in Hampstead, England, who have been the subject of horrible childhood. So we'll be right back after these messages with more of the Hampstead cover-up. And now a word from our sponsors. Pacific West Bamboo, your premier source for sustainable building material. They provide construction-grade and craft-grade bamboo material for all your indoor, outdoor, and gardening needs. Contact them for event planning and display building as well. 503-839-8126. Or you go to their new website, pacificwestbamboo.com. Or you can contact them on Facebook at Pacific West Bamboo. That's 503-839-8126. Amanda from Pacific West Bamboo was our first sponsor. She's been so good to us, so please support her in return. I want to make everybody aware of our new members section at www.oppermanreport.com. You can go there and sign up for a monthly, quarterly, or yearly subscription. You can even purchase episodes one by one. You get full access to brand new original content, new guests, new uncensored interviews, my own investigations and reports, and we're going to be adding sections with documents, images, police reports, either provided by myself or by my guests, or for my own investigations, my own reports. So you can go to oppermanreport.com and you can sign up there tonight. You can start listening tonight. Strawman. I want to mention Strawman. Strawman is a band out of Toronto, Canada. They're good friends of the Opperman Report. They're a trio of guys who share the same mindset most of us here do, and they put that energy into their words and music. So check them out at strawmanmusic.com and drop them a line to let them know that you heard them here on the Opperman Report. We'll be doing an interview with Sean Duffy soon. You can get an autographed copy of my book, How to Succeed as a Private Investigator, by visiting my PI website, emailrevealer.com. We also offer a computer and cell phone forensics. We can recover deleted text messages to uncover infidelity. We offer asset searches, locates, email tracing, background reports, and we can even trace your spouse's email address back to internet dating websites to catch them cheating online. You can reach us at 800-572-9762, or you can email me at emailrevealer@aol.com. New World Mexican Women. Everyone loves the New World Mexican Women, and their line of fine, handcrafted, authentic Mexican jewelry of stone mosaic and abalone stone inlay. In their first book, titled New World Mexican Women, available on lulu.com, they teach you how to make this jewelry, and they have a collection of love letters to their men from their hometown that have immigrated to the United States to find work. They have also published a new book entitled Azuquina to the Rodeo. It's about a young girl that falls in love with a rodeo bull rider, and she runs away with him without telling her family. You can find the New World Mexican Women by Googling New World Mexican Women. And you can ask them about their deals on wholesaling their fine jewelry and all of the other projects that they have going on. If you'd like to have your business or website advertised here and promoted all over the world on dozens of stations every day, give us a call at 800-572-9762 or email oppermanreport@gmail.com. And now back to our show. Well, not so soon. First, we're going to talk about MichiganMushrooms.net. They offer the highest quality chaga chunks available anywhere, picked fresh from healthy live trees in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, sun-dried and quickly shipped to you. They're very proud of their long-standing reputation as trusted farmers and collectors of wild, gourmet, and medicinal mushrooms. Customer service and offering high-quality products is very important to them. And they have a strict grading system that begins in the woods, and they would rather pass up a chunk that looks bad instead of passing it off to you, the customer. Additionally, they are recognized by the state of Michigan as mushroom experts. They are certified by the Department of Agriculture to sell 20 different species of mushrooms, and proof of this certification is available upon request. That is MichiganMushrooms.net or on Facebook, Michigan Mushrooms LLC. Got a brand new sponsor, The Rodeo of Doom by Miguel La Sala. The year is 2384, and Henry Fields is a down-on-his-luck adjunct professor in the architecture department at Andreas Tangen University in Los Angeles. But he has one thing going for him that others don't. He has enough of the coveted EP14 to live to be 200 if he wants to. Not that hard. When he saves a woman for certain death with a few drops of the EP14, a corrupt government agency tries to blackmail him into selling off his supply. Just when it seems like it might be a good idea, all hell breaks loose. The Rodeo of Doom was written by Miguel La Sala and edited by Margaret A. Harrell, the author of Keep This Quiet, memoir series. Now, she was also the copy-edited Hunter S. Thompson's breakthrough book, Hell's Angels. According to Harrell, the Rodeo of Doom will grip you and pull you into the wild ride of a different reality. This is a consciously fast-paced journey into the future. Author Miguel La Sala reveals his craft by intricately weaving in fine details for his reader and keeps you anxiously anticipating what will happen next. Do not wait to read this book. There will surely be more to come from this author. The Rodeo of Doom is available on Amazon.com, and there's a link to the Rodeo of Doom in the Opperman Report bookstore. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. We're here with Abraham Christie and Ella Draper, and we're discussing the case of the Hampstead cover-up. Now, Ella, the reason why I brought up the father of the children trying to get custody is because the allegation is that you two made up and coerced the children in order to prevent him from getting visitation and custody. But my question is, were you worried about him getting custody? If he's a single man who never had any... The court presumes that the parent who raised the child from birth and mostly raised the child is the parent that's going to continue raising the child unless there's extreme circumstances, a change of circumstances that would cause another parent to be able to come in and change custody order. Were you concerned at all that he was going to be able to get a change of custody order?
No, not at all, not at all, because he hardly participated in children upbringing and in their education. He never participated financially, supported children, so it wasn't concerning me at all. But then to adhere to all kind of actions, like this anonymous call. So the social services got involved and started to investigate, and other things. Then the school also mentioned something to the social services that children are underfed, which is of course not true. So but the attitude of the court was all along very suspicious, even before that, before these events, during these 4 years of on and off legal proceedings as well, where the court was very well aware of his violent nature and his behavior around the children, and nevertheless it gave him contacts, allowed him contacts every week or days or for whole day. And it's only after he retained the children at their unknown address for 3 days, I stopped the contacts. It gave me the opportunity to stop the contacts, and then again, but then during this last year before the events, also the court didn't take any view of the previous history, the previous background.
Okay, so, but now, because I
so they were inclining. They were this. You see, because the social services got involved,
right.
They started to have a voice in these proceedings. For example, this specific social worker called Richard Dempsey and Dempsey, and the children are alleging against him as well, so he started, and looks like him and Diamond know each other quite well, and he's the one who tipped Diamond off about the report, the involvement of the policeman, and Gabriel. There is a document which social services overlooked, and it became part of this current of this recent proceedings, where Gabriel reported to the social worker that the father was hitting them, and that was never made. This fact was been made available at the court. You see, they had to disclose this kind of information. They didn't, and this particular social worker was advising court on the progress of the increased context between him and the children. There was kind of like a scheme constructed where first he would see children every 2 weeks, then more often, and eventually he's going to start to take them overnight. So looks like the court was implicit in this for quite a long time, and we know that the Masons are involved, and majority of the High Court judges are all Masons, as we know, as well as advocates, as barristers,
and many police, social workers, and psychologists are trained at the Tavistock Institute as well.
Who also participated in this proceedings and were basically rubbished the children's testimonies, like Claire Sturge, for example. She's a Tavistock psychologist, and she's been used by the family court very often in other cases where children were taken
removed
from the country, from the family. Like, for example, there was quite a horrific case just a couple of years before with the James family, where 7 children been taken from quite decent, intelligent parents, Christian, where the mother, she's actually an archbishop in Nigeria. They were visiting London, and all seven children were taken in one day, and both parents been given 7 years each of imprisonment on the false allegations. So they have their method, they have their template,
right,
according to which they operate. They have their group of so-called professionals like psychologists, like psychiatrists. There are certain judges are consistently being involved in these cases. The policemen, the same policemen, being consistently involved in this kind of cases. The same tricks. For example, Steve Martin, who you see on the videos, on the police interviews, interviewing children, he's been involved in other cases, and he came up with this information that the children got the details of their disclosures from the film called Mask of Zorro, which is a PG film and just adventurous film, and he's the one who brought it up the same thing in the other case.
He's used the Mask of Zorro previously as an excuse in other child abuse cases.
The question I'm trying to ask is that the allegation is that you guys made up these allegations in order to win this custody case, but ultimately, when I read the ruling by this Justice Palfrey, it appears that the only thing they have against you are these allegations, and also the fact that you
made up allegations,
right,
made up by the court, made up by the social services, because children never once mentioned about any coaching, any abuse on our behalf,
except in the retraction.
Exactly.
Right. Well, but
in the forced retraction.
And I just sorry before Abraham would say what he wants to say, I just wanted to mention something which is important. I already had the custody over the children. I didn't have to fight for the custody. I didn't have to make any stories, not just against Damon, but against the whole school, the entire half of the school, against policemen, against social services, against Kafkas, against the lawyers who has been involved.
Okay, let's clarify that.
Not just that, coach children on about the tattoos.
Why create such a convoluted story?
Right.
And make false allegations
and why,
to the police.
And why create a story alleging that the perpetrators, these intimate distinguishing marks that can easily be proven or disproven?
Tattoos, piercing.
Very good. Now, let me ask you a question.
Piercing and tattoos.
That's another factor.
No other children been interviewed.
Some of the children, Elise and Gabriel.
All the children had tattoos and piercing.
Elise and Gabriel have testified, as Ella just said, that all of the others, there are a group of 20 or so special families that are involved in this ritual abuse, specifically in this mind control programming. Not the whole school.
A lot of them foster families as well.
Not the whole school. And the children, and Alicia and Gabriel told us that all of the special children, they all have tattoos. They are all tattooed. And when we asked Alicia and Gabriel, well, if you're in the group, why aren't you tattooed? And they said the reason we haven't got a tattoo is because Mama, Ella, is not involved. She's not in the cult. See, the children didn't realize that they were part of a trauma-based mind control program. They could only tell us what they were experiencing, that they were being abused,
sadistically raped,
and that they were being forced to abuse other children. That they had their own plastic dildos, and that they were forced to abuse other children. And they were forced to kill.
And they were desensitized
to killing. Both admit to having taken part in the killing of 70 infants each.
You mentioned about the stuff about the plastic dildos.
Yeah.
And now, in this judge's order, there was a medical examiner who examined these children who said that, yes, there were signs. Right, that there were signs.
A pediatrician,
right.
A consultant pediatrician, Dr. Hodes, with over 30 years' experience, yes.
Okay, now how did that doctor get involved in this case? Did you go out and find that doctor, or did the court find that doctor?
No, what happened, you see, they did to take some actions, the police.
Yeah.
For example, they took children on the drive around to identify the properties where the abuse where it was place, and then they arranged for children to be examined on 2 occasions by the group of the doctors who are specializing in the child abuse specifically, and who confirmed categorically that the abuse, the findings were confirming the children allegations. They had scarring in the anal area, and this reflex dilate. Well, anal reflex also is an indicator of the abuse, and that they were abused with the blunt penetrative instruments.
But now that doctor was a court-appointed doctor.
Well, they ignored. She ignored it.
Was she a court-appointed doctor?
No. It was a police-appointed doctor.
Right. Mm-hmm. So this wasn't your doctor that you brought in to make up a story.
No. It was by the police, arranged by the police.
Okay.
In a university college hospital.
But this judge makes a comment at the end where she uses the word bemused. She was bemused by the finding of this doctor, of her own appointed doctor.
Well, not specifically, exactly, not specifically by her, but the police.
Right.
And she also rephrased the formulation of Dr. Hodes. In fact, it was you see what happened. The arrest criteria of Damon was fulfilled twice. First, when the children made allegations, that was the first occasion, and the second, when on the 15th of September, Damon was already in the police station interviewed. At the same time, while he was there, police received the report of Dr. Hodes confirming the abuse. Were alleging,
yeah.
And so that was second. Have been satisfied, and so they never arrested him. And the entry in the police report from the confirmed abuse, the confirmed abuse became a possible variant. And then Puffley, she went further and said that variant that the children had fissures.
Right.
Any, what is it? Scars, yes. Saying it was normal.
Okay.
And also that was this, as I said, this Dr. Sturge was involved, who assessed children psychologically. And so Puffley mainly relied on the Sturge's assessment rather than, and rubbishing Hode's findings.
Yeah, very interesting.
The Hode's
now, but the judge also, too, she cites that you were uncooperative and you didn't appear at the hearing. Now, what was behind that?
Well... You see, right. Well, 3 months of engaging in the proceedings. I already realized that the lawyers are involved. Are all involved in this conspiracy of taking the children. In the secret family court, and so I got two pairs of two companies, of two law firms,
okay.
Who was obviously not acting in my interests, and so then I found out about the so-called professional lay legal advisors, Mackenzie assistant, Mackenzie friend. You see, if you representing yourself by law, you can take some friend or relative or person who's going to help you to take notes in the court, and it's called Mackenzie friend. So then there is this association of Mackenzie friends are also activists and who are protecting children against the abuse, allegedly. So, and they had access to all the court material. So. Later on, we found out that they were the first front of the protection for this. Now is a government-sponsored mind control programming, which is going on in the English schools. So they are the one who published the children's videos and all other documents from the court material online without my consent. In fact, when in January, on the 26th of January, the hearing which I participated in all the hearings, and I realized that the judge is obviously taking children from me and giving father more and more. Were cutting my contacts off. So it was obvious what she was doing. At that time, me and Abraham decided that we're going to start the campaign. But not in the format which it happened. We were of course going to blur children's faces, so on and. And then when Mackenzie friends heard about it, they immediately published everything online, and we only found out about this a week ago. Later. So what happened? There was a specific file with all the names of the people who was involved in this. In this abuse, in this programming. Who were sadistically raping the children, who were forcing them to participate in child sacrifices and torturing of other children. Cannibalism as well, and drinking blood, eating flesh of those infants. And so this is how this material got online. So what happened is this file with all the names, all the telephone numbers, whatever I had access to, I compiled this whole list of people involved, and some of those people complained to the police. And so I was summoned to the court on the 10th of February and been requested to remove and been accused of putting this information online, although the court and the London Borough of Barnet, they're the one who holding children right now incommunicado with anyone, and they were very well aware that it was one of the so-called Mackenzie friends, Sabine McNeil, who then made a lot of interviews straight after and tried to make herself look like she was the one who was whistleblower, and but nevertheless denying that she published the material, although we have emails to me and emails to MP, looks like her handler, admitting that she was the one who inadvertently blind copied a blogger or the maybe group of bloggers. However, we know that this information already gone online, and many bloggers, well, some people were already aware of those videos back in December. This is the first time when Sabine McNeil got first access to those material. So what happened? They did it on purpose to frame me up for the arrest and imprisonment, for the harassment.
It's their MO. It's their MO, Ed. Yeah, it's how they deal. It's how they deal with what they call difficult mothers who won't just go away and do as they're told.
Keep their mouths shut.
That's right. They frame them and they lock them up.
So
that's generally what happens.
I have it straight. Let me see if I have it straight. Okay, you lost confidence. You had 2 law firms, but you lost confidence in them.
That's right.
And so then you started to use these paralegals. Over here in the United States, we would call them paralegals, not attorneys. They're lay people who know the law. They help prepare documents for you. This Mackenzie Friends. But
that's correct, yes.
But you believe that
who are like what you'd consider, what you could call a first line of defense, right, who catch mothers or parents, who haven't been caught up in the orthodox sort of like mechanism, as it were.
No, that's what I was going to say. They were sort of like gatekeepers.
Yes, that's correct.
Exactly
that's
that. Great term, yeah.
So now,
and they've been going on for years before that. They've been involved in many cases before, and a lot of those mothers ended up in prison.
And this is not the first time that they've released or sold case documents. They sell case documents
while also making money on the charities because of the involved in these child abuse cases. Immediately put their donate buttons on their blogs,
and they're both aspiring. They're both aspiring MPs. One's an aspiring MP, and the other one's an aspiring
Belinda Mackenzie.
Belinda Mackenzie, an aspiring MP, and the other one is an aspiring MP. They will direct.
Parliament.
Yeah, they will direct you to the elections, if elections ever changed anything,
or any national campaigns.
And they hope in these positions to assist their cult. They're promoting at the present the rights of children. Yeah.
The same. When we're talking about this counterintelligence,
COINTELPRO.
Okay. There are a few other characters been involved, specifically Brian Garish and Bill Maloney, and this is similar to probably who you've got, Alex Jones, similar to this character.
So you've got Alex Jones. Who else you got? Who are your COINTELPRO over there?
I'm not going to start naming names.
Right. Well, we know that. For example, that Brian Garish, who someone introduced to us even before the children were taken, and I sent him this email, this file of all the members of this cult. And
the
tattoos information. So who's then sent it via Bill Maloney, who is another so-called activists, and they're organizing the mass protests and documentary and
this is your COINTELPRO. This is your COINTELPRO to ensure that the trauma-based never gets out.
Okay, before we get too far ahead, the thing is, though, that you're saying that you gave up on these hearings because now they were going to these custody hearings because now they were going to charge you with harassment. But now let me ask you a question. Now, did you have any criminal legal defense? Abe, you're a savvy guy. You said you had a lot of criminal experience in your life. Did you guys have a criminal attorney advising you about what the charges and jail time would be on a harassment charge? Because here would be nothing. You'd get a probation.
Well, there is no charge. They don't want this case to get into the criminal court. They were avoiding it this at any cost.
They've never interviewed me. Sorry, Anna. They've never once interviewed me. Okay. They never wanted, as Ella just said, they never wanted this case to go to criminal court. Their intent was to keep it in a family court.
However, they were using their little MOs, their established patterns of dealing with this.
Of harassment and intimidation of the mothers.
Okay, wait. Let me see if I have this straight. The reason why you gave up on continuing with the family court proceedings is because you were under threat of arrest for harassment. Am I right
That's
about that?
correct. Well,
Nine police officers, including 2 medical staff, turned up at Ella's home address.
the very next day, after this injunction order had been placed against me.
Okay.
And they turned up with medical staff, ostensibly they said to speak to Ella. Now we have a recording of this incident, and it's on the internet. It's available on the internet. People can watch it, and there's one actually with some video footage as well. So all that's been going on, a lot of what's gone on is documented, you see.
Okay.
And the reason why the case is spreading, why the story is spreading, is because the cover-up has been exposed. They've been exposed on the internet with their behaviour, and they're having difficulty. They're having difficulty covering up this story now.
So this 9 policemen who came to my house, they came without the arrest warrant. And luckily, we had a barrister at my house then, who kind of hold them. Who was taking instructions and who held them back, while we escaped via the back over the roof, so of the back of our house. And next
because
day,
by then it was obvious. It was obvious to us that they were coming to take Ella away.
But my question is, even if they did take you away, what are the maximum charges you could be facing for these?
It wasn't a question of charges, Ed. They regularly incarcerate. They also
they fabricate allegations, but this particular harassment charge is quite serious. I think it's up to what?
It depends. It depends on which section.
What's the worst?
But anyhow,
they were already questioning your mental health.
Yeah, they were already questioning my health from almost day one.
Okay, I understand that, but correct me if I'm wrong. The maximum time you could be facing is like 5 years.
Yeah, but
5 or 6 years. Something
okay, but
like
I'm just asking. Okay.
But that's not the point. That will be the end anyway. I wouldn't be participating in court proceedings. And the thing is, when I left soon after this incident.
You left the jurisdiction.
I left the jurisdiction. That's right. And then. However, the so-called fact-finding went ahead soon after, and I think that was their intention for me not to participate in this fact-finding because the questions I would ask would reveal what's going on.
So Ella was hounded out of the country. You see,
if not arrested, but then hounded. So.
In order to prevent her from attending the finding hearing.
Okay, where are you guys now?
We're at an undisclosed location.
Okay, so you're okay. So you left. Okay, and you're no longer in the country.
No,
that's right.
Okay,
we haven't been in the country since when was it?
Since February.
Okay, but now
February 2014.
So now the children.
2014, 2015.
2015. Because then it was another incident after I left. There was another 10 policemen then attended Abraham's house, and this time they were much more prepared.
I was in the UK, and 10 policemen came to my house. They surrounded the house, and they were intent. They were determined to take Ella with them, and they were adamant that Ella was at the location. And I told them that she wasn't. In fact, I was on the I was speaking to Ella on the phone at the time, and I allowed them to speak to Ella on the phone.
Okay. Okay. And where are the children now?
Well, the children are still within the family, within the foster family. There were the third time they were moved to a different family, and nobody knows where they are. They keep them incommunicado. They prevented any contacts between the children and the grandparents and the other members of my family. However, now that DMN already, even before the proceedings finalized on the 12th of August, he was already given unsupervised contacts with the children.
Okay, now that's my question.
And,
so the kids today are in foster care.
That's right.
But they've never given the children to their biological father. Now, what is the reason for that?
No, they are going to give. They're planning to give. Well, they're planning to give the children to the
That's
father
their
within
intention. But because of the spread of the story, they're finding it increasingly difficult.
Okay, but there has to be a reason. When the father goes to court and says, "Why can I not have custody of my children right now?" What reason are they giving him? Because otherwise, it would be a slam dunk that he would walk out of the courtroom that same day with the kids in his possession. But the kids are kept under state care. What reason are they giving?
Number one, he's had a psychological assessment, the results of which have never been made public. They've perverted the course of justice on numerous occasions, and we have evidence to show this. They've publicly perverted the course of justice. The judge, Palfley, she has made a fraudulent judgment. There are so many.
But she gives a reason why the father does not have custody. Correct?
She gives a reason what?
Okay, the father did not walk out of court that day with the children, which would be normal. Now,
because of the campaign because
everybody knows what's happened.
Too many people now know what's going on, and too many people are watching their actions.
1 second.
Too many people.
So the judge said in her ruling that the reason I'm not giving these children to their fathers because there's a campaign.
No. What happened? She actually didn't want to take the responsibility of the decision. She left the decision to the social services.
Okay.
And we know that the care plan provided by the social services was to eventually give children to the father within the next 6 to 12 months.
Okay.
From the 12th of August. So she never really took the responsibility,
and now that the story has crossed the Atlantic, and due to some American Christians, it is becoming increasingly difficult. And as we've been doing our own research, because we were as confused as everybody else with all of the muddying of the waters and the obfuscation and the satanic ritual abuse aspect of the case, and we were unaware that it was state-sponsored, trauma-based mind control program that we were dealing with. Now, with this information at our disposal, it's easy to see what we're dealing with now, and it clears up a lot of the, as I say, a lot of the anomalies, like a high court judge, perjuring herself and perverting the course of justice.
Not only one, like three highest court judges.
But the judge in this case
and policemen perverting the course of justice so blatantly and so publicly. We were wondering why would they go to such lengths, to cover up a sort of a paedophile or a satanic ritual abuse case. It seemed to be a bit, they were going overboard.
Disproportionate.
Yeah, it was totally disproportionate. And now, with this knowledge that it's a state-sponsored operation, everything makes sense now.
Everything falls into places.
Yeah. We were wondering how could a minor, a minor's son from Rotherham, how could he command such a 25-minute stint on BBC primetime television to plead his case. Although it backfired upon him, spectacularly, but the fact that he could acquire, 25 minutes on BBC,
and all the newspapers got involved, and
the mainstream media, it was just way overboard. It was way,
they overdone it. So let's say,
they overplayed their hand, and we just couldn't work out why, and it just didn't make sense.
Okay, that
in itself was attracting a lot of attention from the wider public. And once we realised that what we were dealing with, everything, as we've said on numerous occasions, everything makes sense now.
And now other cases which are happening now, it's been happening recently, it all makes sense what is going on and why this case has been covered. Like, for example, recently there was a case in France, south of France, in the wealthy area, where 3 children made allegations of similar nature against their father, who was also whitewashed, and mother and the grandfather, who children confided to, were given 3 years of each in prison.
Have been sentenced to prison. And then you have another case.
Hold on, hold on. We don't need to know about every other case in the world, okay? Because really,
these are cases we're mentioning cases that actually correspond with ours.
I know.
For example,
as well.
For example, this case in Jakarta, you've got the Jakarta International School. Just a moment, Ed.
No, wait. Because we can do another hour. But right now, the audience is interested in your case, and that's why I have you on the show.
Right. Well, this case corresponds with our one,
and we can do another hour, okay? But please, guys, you got to listen to my questions, without going on to all this other stuff.
All right, okay.
Because really, I understand, okay, and I'm trying to help. Okay.
Yeah, of course. No, you're doing a great job, but because we're so familiar with the case now, we know the things that sort of like will explain and clarify the situation to your audience.
I'm the audience, okay? And if I'm not understanding what's going on, the audience doesn't understand what's going on either, okay?
Okay.
So I want to hear from Ella and Abraham what's going on in this case, okay?
Okay. Well, in this case,
no. Wait, please. Let me ask a question, because let's go back to a couple of things.
All right.
Now, when they had the father, and they were questioning him, and then they had medical documentation that the kids were molested because they had a doctor's report, and they had the allegation that he was the one doing the molestation. Did they ever seize his computers and his cell phone and that kind of stuff?
No,
never,
none of this.
Never.
None of this happened. He wasn't arrested. The mobile phones, computers was never seized. The CCTV cameras were never investigated. The forensics never went and investigate the school, the church, the houses of the parents, where those so-called fun sex parties were going on, where in fact they were raping children there.
Okay,
and,
so
none of this taking place.
Yeah, and this explains
none of the children being interviewed.
This explains the state backed cover-up of the situation, because it's a state-sponsored operation.
No, I'm not arguing that that's not true. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Right now, do you have anyone representing your parental interest there in the UK in Hampstead?
Well, I have a lawyer, I have a law firm who is acting for me. However, no. My parents were were going to become
right. Why can't your parents have custody?
The guardians. We applied for guardianship, but then they were dismissed, because they actually did not want to agree with the Pathley's judgment, and that was a condition for them to carry on the assessment. So
right, in order for them to get custody, they would have to agree with the court. Yes, my daughter is a bad parent.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Now, what about the allegations against Abraham? Okay, Abraham. Now, there's allegations that you were spanking the kids with spoons. What do you have to say about that?
No, they're not allegations. I admitted to hitting children with spoons, yes. What happened was that once the children began disclosing, their behavior deteriorated even further. Once they explained to us that their father had ordered them to touch each other intimately 5 times a day.
Okay.
That they had been killing children regularly. They had been sacrificing children, consuming their flesh and consuming their blood, that they had been sodomizing other children. It seemed that they felt no qualms about enacting this behavior. They no longer felt the necessity to hide this behavior. And because we knew that they were ordered to touch each other 5 times a day intimately, and that they had been doing it, they no longer hid this from us. And we began having to separate them, and we even had to take to locking ourselves in our bedroom, because we became concerned for our own safety. The children all admitted, they disclosed to us that they had sexually abused a 3-year-old child, a toddler, that was staying in the same hotel in the same farm that we were staying in Morocco, and they just became increasingly aggressive towards us. Yes, they had been ordered by their father for 2 years. He'd been ordering them to kill Ella, but due to her loving devotion towards the children, they would not do it. When I materialized, he told them then to kill me. And Elisa had actually sent Gabriel into the bedroom one time, but Gabriel wouldn't kill me. So they sent him in to cut a lock of my hair, which he duly did. So they were grooming him. They were grooming him to kill me. Now, this is some of what was going on, and I think it was one of the times when they were touching each other intimately, and we had prevented them, and they were becoming increasingly aggressive and angry about this. Now, we didn't know it was because they were so fearful. They were fearful. They had been terrorized by their father, and the reason that they were carrying out his orders was because he had threatened to kill them.
Okay.
And
Let me ask you this.
they knew that he would do it because they'd witnessed him killing other children.
I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, can you guys do another hour?
When?
Right now, because otherwise we got 10 minutes left. We're not going to get to everything.
Only if you let us talk about the trauma-based mind
Talk about
control.
whatever you want. Dude, you talk about whatever you want, but you got to answer my questions too. Okay.
I'm teasing.
Okay.
Of course we can.
Okay, good. Now, my question for you is this. Now, the little boy was 9 years old, right?
Yeah.
Eight.
8 years old.
8.
And you got him on over your lap. You're spanking him with a spoon.
No, I never got him over my lap and spanked him with my spoon.
But
no.
somehow you were spanking him with a spoon in some position.
No, he was standing in front of me. He was standing, and I hit him on the head with the spoon.
Hit him on the head with the spoon.
Yeah, on the head. They had told us that their father was hitting them with a large metal spoon in the school.
Okay.
When was it? If they screamed, he'd hit them with the spoon.
Yeah.
When they were being abused, when they were being sodomized, if they made a noise, he would hit them with a large metal, I think, a serving spoon from the school canteen. And
the way if they're screaming more, then the school nurse would inject them and put them to sleep.
But my question is...
Would sedate them. Yeah, would sedate them.
My question is, Abe, is that you're afraid that this little 9-year-old boy is going to kill you, but at the same time...
No. I wasn't afraid the boy... No. I wasn't afraid the boy was going to kill me. Elisa was the one I was more... Look, I'll explain it to you this way, Ed, so that you can get a picture.
Okay.
Right. As I've told you before, I've spent a lot of my youth in and out of correctional facilities. There was one time I was in a jail cell with two other young men. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I had a disagreement with one of the other men in the cell, and we had a fight. We had a fisticuff fight. We had a fight in the cell, yeah? And that later on that evening, I had to sleep in that cell, in that same cell with those two guys, yeah?
Okay.
I felt more fearful for my life with Elisa and Gabrielle than I ever did in jail. Okay?
Because you thought that they would come in with knives or something and kill you?
Elisa knew. We asked. Look, Elisa admitted that she told us that she was thinking of killing us. She told us. We asked her.
Told us on few occasions. We see what happened. Even though children were relieved about the disclosure and finally being able to talk about it, they still been brainwashed and conditioned. And desensitized, and also Alisa felt she felt some loyalty to her father as well.
Right, okay.
You see, so that's and they were going back and forward. You know, one moment it was they were those beautiful, innocent children who were relieved of those of the burden of this experience, and on the other hand, they would become cold, cynical. How to say?
They only, all they ever knew, they'd grown up with the cult all their life. So, it's understandable that they felt, a sense of misplaced loyalty, if you will, a sort of what they call Stockholm syndrome towards the cult, right. Ed.
And we were saying you just stop touching, and also they started to do something else. They started to put a poo on our food.
They were poisoning. They'd been poisoning us for a while, Ed. They'd been wiping my toothbrush around the Moroccan toilet. Yeah, wiping our toothbrushes around the Moroccan toilet. We caught them sticking their finger in their anus and putting poo on our food. It's something that their father had taught them.
And they were doing for 2 years before that to my food.
He told them repeatedly, the term he used was, make it difficult for mama. Make it difficult for your mother. And we realize now that the reason this was to ensure that Ella never had time to work out what was going on. You see?
In addition, they had sign languages.
Oh wow! When we kept them separate, because we had to keep them separate. After a while, we had to keep them in separate rooms because they always stayed in the same room, so they had ample opportunity to carry out their father's orders. And once we separated them, and it became more difficult for them, then that's when their behaviour deteriorated, and it was during one of these episodes when Elisa was going to her room that I noticed. I think it was Gabriel. No, it was Gabriel going to his room, and I noticed Elisa make a to him with her eyes, and at first I couldn't. It didn't register to me. I couldn't quite believe it. It was a non-verbal communication with her eyes. And then I realized they've got a secret. They've got a secret language. They've got a secret sign language.
And then they admitted that.
And they revealed to us.
The demon was teaching them and other children in the school this secret sign language.
Well, let me ask you this now, because this was during a period of time when they stopped having visits with their father, correct?
No, they hadn't stopped having visits with him. They'd only just begun having visits with him, as far as we were concerned.
After about 2 years.
Although he'd been seeing them every day in school. Right. For how long? For how long was it?
For about 2 years.
Okay. Was it 2 years he was going to school?
Maybe over a year, I would say. Because the thing is, he didn't see. He officially did not see them for 2 years. Now, part of this time, he went to America and then to India. And then we suspect he returned in spring of 2013.
Because that was when
this is the reason we suspect that is I suspect that is because children's behavior deteriorated dramatically then.
Okay, let's stop here for a second.
All this time, he did not see them. He didn't ask for any contacts.
Let's stop here for a second because we're
visiting them in school.
We got 3 minutes left in the 2-hour show, and some people are only going to hear the 2-hour show. So now, how can people find you? What's your website? If people want to contact you, if they want to help you, what do we do?
I'd been taken down now on third occasion after we started to talk about mind control.
But it will be up again within the next 2 days because it's under reconstruction, if you will.
Yes.
Our website is www.hampsteadcoverup.com.
Yes, and then there is another website as well, is freethehampstead2.com.
Freethehampstead2, that's a numerical 2.
Now, what if people want to email you, get a hold of you?
They can contact
us through our page, to our contact page, once the website is up.
Okay.
That'll be up in another 2 days.
Hopefully.
So what do you want to leave the audience with right now, the larger audience right now in the last couple of minutes? And we can do another hour after this.
We would like to advise the audience to speak to your children. Ask your children.
What's going on in
Ask them what's going on in school. Speak to them. Tell them not to be fearful. Because we know that this is happening in America And we now know this happening in the UK. You guys have got you've got your history of this. There's a documented history of trauma-based mind control programs happening in the US. You've got the Franklin scandal. You've got the Finders. You've got the McMartin preschool scandal. You've got numerous instances of it going on. You've got the Jakarta International School where Barack Obama, your mind control sex slave president, he attended that school. And a teacher there, his name is Neil Buntelman. He was sentenced to a 10-year prison sentence for crimes eerily similar to those of the Hampstead case. And Neil Buntelman, has just been released after serving less than a year of that sentence. The Jakarta International School, we believe, is a CIA indoctrination school, and there's a website called Angifarm, a blog called Angifarm blog.
Spell it.
It's ANGIRFAN, Angifan. It's run by two girls that explains a lot of this information. There's a lot of stuff on the internet, and Angifam is a good place to start.
Okay, you can send me a bunch of links, and we'll put them up on the OppermanReport.com blog. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to end the show now, and we'll tape another hour with our guests here, Abraham Christie and Ella Gariva, about the case about the Hampstead cover-up, guys. Good night.